Hello, this is Pomona High School, and today we will be doing a reading on I Felt a Funeral in My Brain by Emily Dickinson. So, in the first stanza, what do you guys think I Felt a Funeral in My Brain is uh, about?
Well, I think that since in the first line, the first thing that she uses, funeral, it really kind of points to depression, like having like that thought of death like in your brain kind of just goes straight to depression. Um, and that the kept treading till it seemed that sense was breaking through. It kind of feels so heavy that you can almost like feel her depression.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Missy, what do you think?
I pretty much feel the same thing that Lauren said. I feel that funeral can be a metaphor for her describing depression. And I feel like the kept treading and treading, I do think that's where it's going on, except where it says that sense was breaking through, I feel like maybe that's a part where she thinks she's starting to overcome it a little bit.
Hello.
I think that funeral might be like a loss of something. Like she lost something and she's mourning because she said mom was there too.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. It seems like she lost something and I don't know if it's depression or it's just something really bad happened to her.
Well, now that you said that, it kind of makes me think maybe the loss of herself.
Yeah,
and who
like
she
a piece
is
of her, like
due
something
to
traumatized her.
or
due to
possibly
something.
she lost something that caused the depression.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's depression as well, though, because one of my favorite things about this is you can see there's an anaphora, and it seems to symbolize falling from and as it goes down, like within the poem.
Hello.
Hi, Josh.
Hello. So I was looking at the word sense, and I was kind of wondering what that means. Like, what is kind of like bringing her out of this? Is the word sense bringing her out of this funeral that's going on in her brain something that might be like died within herself, and is that sense kind of saving her or something? What is going on with the word sense?
I actually interpreted it as like a more of a physical thing, like it's becoming more physical, like she's noticing it in her senses, like it's starting to come out more physically.
Okay.
In the second stanza, when it says, "A service like a drum kept beating, beating, till I thought," what connection do you think that has to, in the first stanza, "and mourners to and fro kept treading, treading, till it seemed," because those are obviously she's trying to connect something there. What do you guys think on that? Robert?
Well, I feel like with the kept beating and beating, it's kind of like that. I guess it's kind of like a reference to the funeral in my brain, and I feel like it's kind of like it just keeps going and going. Like sense was breaking through, but then it just kind of comes back. Like I feel like throughout the poem, she has moments of epiphany where it like kind of breaks, but then comes back again. And I feel like that's kind of what the beating is.
Anybody else have anything to add?
I felt that in the third line when it says kept treading, like something is violating her mind, like she doesn't want it there.
The reason for repeating it, I feel, is that like if you've experienced depression, you know that it just like it continues and it just like is like this just constant beat that like never stops and you can't get out of it.
I feel like treading is it's the thing where it's leading on and leading on. I feel like beating, how it's like a sense, I feel like it's just such a normality now.
Yeah.
It's not exactly a good normality, but I feel like it's just beating on, and that's pretty much like till I thought my mind was going numb. Like it's been going on for so long now. It's just another tempo in her brain of this slow, sad.
It's a norm because it's been there for so long. It just keeps going.
In the third stanza, third line, I want to talk about the boots of lead. I think that they are holding her back and like keeping her down. but I think that it could be more than just that.
I think she definitely uses a lot of metaphors in this to signify that. I do agree that it's holding her down. Technically think heavy, it's like a heavy weight on her feet, and I think that's why she calls them boots of lead rather than anything else.
Anybody else have anything to add on that?
Well, I feel like again, like with what I said earlier, when it kind of like comes and goes, it says, like the whole line says, with those same, it's like it's obviously been there before, and then again, so saying that it's been there again. So it just kind of keeps like reoccurring. She can't get out of this slump.
Hello.
Welcome back.
I'm sorry, I just read a line and it was weird. What do you think about the line, and I and silence some strange race? Like it's a race or something? Like silence is like really rare or something. I don't know, what do you guys think about that line?
Well, I feel that silence is another thing leading back to depression and everything. I went to the second line after that, wrecked, solitary here. I feel like it's more of something that it's more of a confinement type of thing, and I think that's kind of also why she used silence. And I think race, I kind of feel like it's almost a race to beat it.
Competition to get out of the confinement.
I think that maybe silence could be referring to death, and that she is racing with death to reach the end goal. Either that is she's getting out of this depression that makes her want to die, or that she just dies.
It's kind of like, I thought it meant that she it hasn't been quiet for her in a long time. Like she had somebody or something that talked to her a lot, and now it's silent, and she can't. She's not used to it.
Honestly, I agree with what Nick said with the she's racing against death, because even on the first line of that stanza it says, as all the heavens were a bell. So it's almost like it's kind of there, like it's calling her, like she's racing with death.
I really like what Romeo is bringing into this, though, because death and depression and loss, like, all run parallel. And so it's very easy to have them within the same poem and to be able to perceive all of these things as either or both. And I think that's really cool, because it's like she lost something and that's why she's feeling this way.
Okay. And now we are in the last stanza, unless you guys wanted to talk about something before.
I mean, go ahead.
I want to talk about the last stanza as a whole, and especially the last line. It says, and finished knowing then. Why do you think she abruptly cut off and ended with a dash?
I think that is the point of suicide and or giving up in general, because it stopped so abruptly, and then the first line, and then plank and reason broke. It's like every reasoning she had, everything that she really had been fighting for, it all broke down, and in other words, she lost the race to depression.
And I agree with you there, Missy, because like in every single line there's so much negative connotations in all the word, like plank and reason broke, drop down, plunge, and then finished.
Yeah, because before there was some sort of uplifting and there was some sort of hope there, but now in this last stanza it's all gone and it has all died down.
Yeah, and I feel as if you get like further down in the poem, each of those verbs become like heavier, and each of those connotations with dark and death become so much heavier and more serious.
I think that at the very end, when it says finish knowing, I think knowing is supposed to be living, that she was just done with having to know and live through all these things, and then bang.
So I think the spirit of the poem just kind of feels like it's up until the last stanza, it's kind of all up in her head, and then like towards in the last stanza it just starts falling, and then she ends up crashing into the world. So like she says she drops down and down, and she hits the world at every plunge, and then just that's kind of like the decline of her spirit, her life essence, and that's what the funeral in the brain is. That's kind of what I got from that. So I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on falling.
I think this is her journey falling deeper deeper and deeper into the depression and kind of letting it tangle her in farther than she had originally wanted to. But I do think it's all a sense of falling farther and farther to her lowest of low points.
Yeah.
And that,
Go ahead.
and that's all the time we have. Thanks for joining us, and join us again next time